Hello and welcome to Sounding Board. This is a weekly program completely directed and produced by club members of the Soroptimist International of Novato. We love doing this and we have a good time doing it, so consider joining us sometime as a member. Our mission is to improve the lives of women and girls, both locally and globally. Today we have a special guest with us, somebody you may have met around town. His name is Brent Ainsworth, and Brent is the editor of something called Patch, Novato Patch. Actually, I should say it as novato.patch.com. And you know, I was trying to describe it a little bit to sort of preface this whole thing, but I'm just going to turn it over to you, Brent, and say, what is Novato Patch?
Basically, it's a website. That's the easiest way to put it. I've been stopped on the street. Friends of mine have said, "Oh, I love your paper," and I have to remind them, there's no paper. It's a website. I am not scared of that word. It is a website that's part of a nationwide network of hyper-local websites that cover towns, similar to the way other media cover a town with a wide variety of news and feature stories and urgent information, sometimes emergency coverage, and but it's a lot more than that. There's a lot of opportunities for interaction for the readers. Now, the word patch, is the word patch used throughout the whole United States? Yes, it is.
And then it's prefaced by the city?
Absolutely. It's the name of the city goes in front of the word patch, separated by a dot. So,
cool.
Yeah, it's where patch came from. I'm not really sure. We sometimes joke among ourselves that it sounds like a drywall company, but no. I think it's because your hometown is kind of your patch of turf, your patch of land, what you protect and what you care about. And
I was thinking of patching people together with resources.
That's another way to look at it. Is kind of because it is a network of nationwide websites, and it's not only patching those websites together to cover the United States as best as we can, but it's also patching people together because they can, in some cases, they can. Just hold their own conversations on the website, and we can see those conversations take place in front of everybody else, right there by people adding their own comments to the bottom of a story.
Now, I always thought that maybe it was a lease opportunity, and I thought you were a pretty shrewd guy going out there and getting this lease, but I understand the opposite happened. They came looking for you. Is that what happened?
Yeah, in a way, we have in the circle of journalism these days. We keep in touch with each other, and one of my friends, one of my former colleagues, had joined Patch as an editor, and I started thinking about that, and I really thought that the business model was something that I really believed in, and pursued it from there. And I think the reason why it's worked well getting off the ground here in Novato is because I live here, and I'm part of the community. Yeah.
I was at the Novato, the Marin Speaker Series not long ago, and Ariana Huffington was there speaking about her big website, what is it called, the Huff Post?
The Huffington Post,
Huffington Post, and she mentioned the patch, and I thought, she knows about Novato Patch? I couldn't figure that one out, but then I get the big picture. So so do you work for her? Is that the idea?
Yeah, in a Kevin Bacon kind of way, sure. The patch, I have even friends who I haven't explained this to. They think I did this on my own or something. But no, it is a nationwide network, and Patch is owned by AOL, which I think everybody knows out there used to be just about an email service.
Yes.
And these days it's really a media company. And Ariana Huffington sold her Huffington Post concept and her website and all of her employees and the whole network to AOL. So in a way, Ariana is my boss, and HuffPo, as we call it, is definitely connected to Patch. And for instance, for the recent 9/11 coverage of the terrorist attacks anniversary, the 10th anniversary, patch editors from all over the country wrote stories and took photos and took video, and we all contributed to a special Huffington Post montage. You know, I guess it was a package that ran on that day, and it was amazing to see how many lives had been changed from the survivors. And
did they put some of your input up there?
We ran something on one of our. There were 3 victims of the terrorist attacks from Novato, and one of them, Paul Sloan, is one who is fondly remembered by a lot of people here in Novato, and San Marin High School has a plaque in his honor, and there's some volunteers worked very hard to create that spot and make it special, and so we kind of focused on Paul this time. Yeah,
good. I know his family.
Yeah.
Are there other patches in Marin County?
There are. There are 5 in all in Marin.
5.
There are 5, and we have one in Mill Valley. We have one in San Anselmo Fairfax, so it covers the Ross Valley. We have.
What's that one called?
That's called San Anselmo Fairfax. There's, you know, I guess if we had Ross Valley, we'd have to include Kentfield and Ross, and for one editor to focus on, it's best that we kind of narrow it down a little bit. There's not going to be. Well, let me finish the list. It was Twin Cities. No, Twin Cities. There's that one's called Larkspur Corte Madera patch. And then there is a San Rafael patch, so that's with Novato. That makes 5. The patch was designed to be in suburbs where where the readers were what they believed were underserved by the existing media, whether it be radio, TV, print. That there was an educated public out there, kind of people that were very engaged in their community, people who attended city council meetings, had a clue as to really how their city worked, and those were the cities that that patch targeted when they came up with a list of where should we have a patch. Can't have them in every single town. So the range in population of a patch town, the smallest ones are about 10,000. And the largest ones are upwards of 90, maybe even 100,000, I think. So Novato's right in the middle there.
They came after you to be the editor. And so you're the editor of Novato.patch.com. And tell us about your huge staff.
Well, I'm the sole full-time editorial person. And that's another maybe a fact that people don't realize. There's a freelance staff too. I have several people who get regular work, and they get paid per story. They often specialize in one particular area. They kind of handle one thing for me, and I communicate with them on a regular basis about story ideas in that subject matter. And believe me, without having it be a team effort like that, it would not be the site that it is today. And we're very proud of what we've done as a team, and I try to make sure that they get some kudos as well for the success so far of Novato Patch.
Speaking of that pride, which you should be proud, from what I understand, was there an award or something for Novato for the whole nation? How does that work?
Well, Patch basically has notified Novato that you're among the top in terms of advertising revenue and also readership, per capita. It's doing very well in Novato, and
so we should be proud of.
We should be proud.
Community and proud of you, perhaps, for pulling it all together.
I'm not going to take the credit. I think who gets the credit is the people who care about their community, who have accepted this as a new form of media and taken part in it, and really they've not only bookmarked the website on their computers, but they have signed up for the daily e-newsletter that gets sent to your inbox at 6 o'clock every morning, that has a summary of the previous day's headlines, along with events that are coming up that day, other announcements that either I added myself.
No, I get that daily, but I think once in a while I've had a surprise extra announcement, like an extra comes out.
That's what we call breaking news.
Breaking news, that's cool.
Yeah, that's one where, as the editor, if I'm writing a story that I feel is very urgent and people really ought to know what's going on right then and there, I can just click on that button so that anybody who gets that e-newsletter will also get this special zinger into their email saying, hey, this is something you might really care about right now. It's going on.
Good. How do you think the media has changed over the last decade?
Boy, I mean, with technology, the light year kind of progress that seems to be made every few months. Nobody can really keep up with it. But I think the internet, if you remember 15 years ago, really, I think people thought the internet was going to be a fad or an experiment or something like that, and I don't think that's the case. Do you?
No.
I think it's really part of people's lives, and
especially younger people.
That's what I was going to say. Is the young folks almost don't know anything that wasn't that way. They've grown up to expect the kind of the immediate response from the media when something is going on. They want to know right now. Why wait? So the immediacy of the internet is very similar to the immediacy of radio. TV is a little bit tougher to turn things around very quickly because of the video technology that's involved, making sure you have a camera at a particular spot. Radio has always been a great way to get immediate news out, but now the internet is just as well, and so that's definitely an advantage that Novato patch has, or any patch has. We can hear about something, and we can just go onto our Facebook page. There is a Facebook page associated with every single one of these patches, as well as a Twitter account. A lot of people get those Twitter notices on their handheld devices, and we can say, there's a house fire or something, something like that, or traffic's going to be backed up. There was a big rig crash, this afternoon, so expect a big backup on your way home tonight if you're a commuter. That might not even be a story, a full story. It might just be a tweet or a quick Facebook post.
So of our population of approximately 50,000 here, do you have a way of measuring how many people are already accessing patch?
That's another advantage that we have on the internet is everything's extremely measurable. Having eyeballs looking at a television screen, I think the only way to really find out whether somebody's watching it is if you were spying on them, Big Brother was watching or whatever. Certainly there are those
offer something free and watch how many people call in.
I remember getting a phone call 10 years ago saying, would you be willing for, was it Nielsen ratings or something? They wanted to track what I was watching on television, so I had to fess up and say I was watching sports a lot more than I told my wife. But that was their way of tracking it. With the internet, you can not only find out which stories are popular, but how long somebody stayed on that story, how long they stayed on the site.
So do you have a feeling of how many people, what percentage of our community is already involved with patch?
I am privy to some of the numbers that I'm not supposed to talk about, but the advertising folks who are, this is a business model that I really believe in. We do patch as a business, and we're in the business of selling advertising for the site because businesses want to get the word out about their own businesses, and they want to go where they know the readers are, or where the interested, where the public is, what the public is paying attention to. And now, Novato patch is a new way for people to pay attention to the news going on in the community. So it's become a popular thing with local businesses. And the ad representative that we have in this area has done a great job. She gets a lot of the credit as well. Lori Pierce, she's been fantastic.
Good. Let's talk about the community and how community can get involved. I know one of our Soroptimist sisters, Sylvia Berry, writes a regular blog on there, and I see her face on there all the time. I think, wow, Sylvia, that's hot, So how does one get involved or positioned to do a blog or to write to the editor or to announce an event? How does that all happen?
Well, by quickly sending me an email saying I'm interested in blogging, and I, for the most part, I just say, are you going to talk about something local? Because if the answer is yes, then we can move forward. We're trying to make Novato patch, and every patch editor is trying to make that site as local as possible, because you're not going to go to Novato patch to learn about what's going on in Afghanistan or what's going on with the GOP presidential debate or something like that. It's just not the source for that kind of stuff. Huffington Post would be a good source for that, but these patch sites are so local. I almost don't pay attention as a news person. If it's not Novato-ish, I'm almost turning my cheek. That's not my job. You can get that elsewhere. So I'm trying to make this so hometown that it really is a must-read for.
So I went on your site and I saw it said, "Do you want to send a blog?"
Yeah.
And so I said, "Press, yeah, I'd like to do a blog."
Right.
Believe it or not, I would like to do a blog.
So these blogs that maybe you'll be doing soon, especially if they're localized, we just have to make sure that you're going to be respectful to the readers, and there's a couple of guidelines that we say. Hey, would you agree that you're not going to go overboard with your language, or
so have a little agreement. You're going to send me an agreement,
a little bit of an agreement, and then other than that, it's a blog. A lot of people. There's a lot of very intelligent people, especially living in Marin County.
Yeah,
there's a lot of educated people and experts in particular areas, and I would love for Novato patch readers to be able to tap into this expertise that we have here, and it could be real fun expertise like rock and roll history of Novato. Wouldn't that be a blast? It could be really anything. It could be just a pure Novato history lesson, and I would love to have folks like that approach me and say, that'd be a blast. I'd love to do that. And bloggers are unpaid. They're unpaid everywhere on the internet. That's kind of, I guess that's why you call it a blog and not unbiased journalism. I've been trained to be an unbiased journalist. I went to journalism school, and I'm trying to leave myself out of the story. The bloggers are supposed to be expressing their opinion and having a good time.
Does it take the place of writing a letter to the editor? Or is that something separate? Can somebody write a letter to the editor?
Right. I'm accepting op-ed pieces, what we call opinion editorial pieces. That might be a little bit longer, than a typical blog post. A lot of blog posts can be a couple of paragraphs. Hey, this thought occurred to me today as I was driving through down San Marin Drive about Mount Burdale. Oh, what could be really anything, and someone might have an epiphany, and they just want to share that and say, "What do you think, readers?" It doesn't have to be an essay at all.
So tell me about, I'm the president currently of the Soroptimist International of Novato. Would it be appropriate to put those kinds of things in a blog, or would it more appropriately post it as an event? Or tell me how, as an organization, and when I say this kind of thing, this is the kind of thing, and I hope the viewers will say, gee, maybe I'm the president of the Girl Scouts, whatever, I'm the president of this, or I do this or that. They could perhaps follow my role here, what I'm doing. So tell me how I could use you as patch to make everybody more aware of what we do.
That's one of the ways to use Novato patch. Besides just being a news consumer and just reading the things that I write or my freelancers write, is to blog, post an event, a coming event. Let's say it's a church rummage sale. Go ahead, create an event on Novato patch. Let people know when it's going to happen, what some of the featured items are, exactly what time and date, and you can even upload a photo of last year's rummage sale if you want to. You can, if it's on YouTube. If you've got file shots of your church rummage sale on YouTube, go ahead, upload that from last year. It's really easy to post that.
And would that show up on your little...
Absolutely.
What a little YouTube movie?
Yeah,
really?
Oh, yeah.
We could take that kind of space.
Then the last option is, well, there are two more options. One is announcements. The announcements category is meant to be, for the most part, things that have already happened that are worth bragging about. It can be everything from a Little League game report to somebody being named to the board of a nonprofit, to such and such received a grant, and any kind of accomplishment out there. We can also have folks, if they want to share an obituary of a prominent family member, or not even prominent, any family member. Anybody can go up there and upload that as well, along with a tribute video or a montage of photos if they would like to. I would certainly need to confirm that it's all true and check with the family first. But there are a variety of ways for people to participate. If you're a nonprofit, if you're a school, a house of worship of any sort, even the city government. I went down and sat with the folks at the city of Novato, and I think it was maybe the first month that Novato Patch was open, and I showed them how to do these kind of things. You can add these notices. They were selling bricks outside City Hall.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, why don't I just come down and give you a demonstration on how interactive this site can be, how you, the city of Novato, can create a sign-on or a login, if you want to call it that, and on a password that maybe the folks around the office, you go ahead and share that password with a few select folks. They can go on and add the commemorative brick sale or anything else going on that the city's doing. It could also be used by their Parks and Rec program to promote things at Hamilton Pool. And the city has gotten used to the fact that they have that freedom to reach those Novato Patch readers. They don't even have to contact me first. They can go ahead and do that.
Interesting. Now, what about kids? What if I were the student body president of one of the elementary schools, even, or junior highs, or something like that? Would I be able to have a blog? Could I be responsible for something like that even as a kid?
Absolutely.
Really?
Oh, why not?
Do you have anybody so far?
It's the internet. It's the Wild West. Have fun. I have one. I'm glad you brought that up because it does tie into the mission of Soroptimist.
Right.
Because we have in our roster of writers a volunteer from San Marin High School. I'm going to brag about Megan Caldwell for a second. Megan is a family friend of ours who went to a journalism camp, I guess you could say, down at USC over the summer, and came back all fired up about journalism. She said, I'd like to write for Novato Patch. What can I do? And I said, well, you can tell us about what's going on at San Marin High School. And how about we have a new principal there? How about doing a Q&A with the new principal? Adam Littlefield. She said that'd be great. I said let's talk a little bit about the questions you might ask. She's not a fully trained journalist yet. Right. She's enthusiastic and needs a little bit of guidance at this point. But boy, that was popular when she did that, and I ran it on Novato Patch. She was excited. Adam was excited, the principal, because it was accurate. She did a great job.
Good. And
it was good exposure for the community. Did a real community service. Who's this new principal at San Marin High School? I'm working right now with the folks at Novato High and even Marin School of the Arts. I'd love to make sure that we have a balanced coverage, and let's try to get some of those, even the creative writers from MSA. If you would like to share your works,
that would be great.
I'd love to let people know what's going on.
I hope people are listening to this. I really hope people. There's somebody out there that's listening. I think that's hopefully I was going to say your telephone's going to ring off the hook, but no. Hopefully you'll just get your inbox.
Yeah,
will just be filled tomorrow. Yeah. Well, are there any? I'm thinking about like kind of career kind of things. Is there anything we can tell people, like women and girls, that about career opportunities or something like that with online? Website news situations like that?
Well, online media is a big part of journalism schools across the country now. So if you are a Megan Caldwell and you really want to look at journalism as a possible career, most likely that you could go to college and major in online media, and because that's changing. It's such a moving target with the internet becoming a bigger and bigger part of more and more people's lives. Especially handheld devices. I should mention there's even an iPhone app for Novato Patch. There's an app for any patch. You just go, you can go and search for patch, and you can find your patch, even if it's my hometown of Downers Grove, Illinois. I could download that. So I've got my Downers Grove.
Is that
patch
a free app by any chance?
They're all free.
I would imagine. Yeah.
So
fabulous.
it's great to get folks like Megan excited about the online media world, and it's not just young kids either. It's the folks who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, who are finding out that the internet's not a bad thing necessarily.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff out there that's not suitable for everyone's viewing, but there's a lot of good out there too, and a lot of nonprofits have very thorough, very good websites. And there's a lot of ways for people to get involved in their community, and Novato Patch wants to be part of that, but also promote what's going on in the community by teasing to those other websites. Hey, for more information, go check out these other sites, and we try to make sure that folks are getting credit.
Brent, did you always want to be a journalist?
what did I want to be when I was a kid? At first, I wanted to be a fireman, and then I wanted to be I wanted to go into designing cars. I was fascinated with wind tunnel results and drag coefficients and all that. And then I figured once I got to college, that's an awful lot of math. And I was okay at math, but I took an English class, and the instructor there said, we could really use you on the school paper. I'm sure you worked at your high school paper.
You skipped over a step, because when we
did.
talked before, we talked about your favorite classes at school, and they were English, right?
No.
Oh.
Not at all.
We want to make sure that everybody that's clear with it. Not that I'm against it. I teach English, and
my
so
wife Edie
I
does
think
not
this is
like.
funny.
So she's a teacher at San Ramon Elementary, and she doesn't like me to bring up the fact that I was not very good at English in high school and really didn't like English in high school. What I loved was grammar, and I loved journalism. Back then, not really knowing it, I was a voracious newspaper consumer at a young age and magazine reader, but reading works of fiction and analyzing what the author was trying to say was the polar opposite of what journalism was all about, which was getting to the point.
Yeah, and you want the facts.
And not having a book club to try to figure out what the author was saying. It was.
I think that's amazing.
I found out very early that I was worried. I was wired for the nonfiction world. I loved history because it was real, and I loved current events because they were real. And when I was a kid, I was watching the Vietnam War unfold on television. And I remember being scared about that. I remember seeing newsmen diving away from bullets. I mean, Dan Rather with the helmet on and everything. Vivid memories for me. And
you had one instructor one time who said to you,
who said, I think you've got some writing talent, and I'd like to put that to use at the school paper. And it wasn't really until then that I considered journalism as a career. So I majored in journalism and went into it, and I've stuck with it ever since. That's been 20. When did I take that class? 1983?
Fabulous. But that's interesting. I hope that young people hear that you didn't always want to be a journalist, and even English wasn't your favorite class, but that you didn't realize why, and then later on you finally figured it out, that you were really after the facts, just after the facts.
Yeah.
And that one instructor touched you at some way and finally made the magic.
You know what's funny, I am in touch with that professor to this day.
Interesting.
And he's down in Santa Cruz, and he actually has written a newspaper column for the local paper down there, where I ended up working thanks to him giving me a start. And so it's kind of a heartwarming part of the story.
Well, Brent, I get the feeling that this is just like the Novato.patch.com is like a huge bulletin board, and it's where people can come alive and come and interact with it and use it to have immediate access and free access to a huge population. And we all need to know more and more how to use this wonderful media resource in our community. And I thank you, Brent, for being with us today.
Sure thing.
And I thank my sister club members here who are on crew and helping with the program. And I also want to thank Novato Public Access Television for sponsoring us tonight. So thank you, especially our viewers.